But as long as you continue to do what you do, we're going to continue to do what we do here, which is give people a better alternative for people who really want to hear from wrestling fans who are not going to give them BS, who are not going to give them the fluff. They're just going to give them the stuff. Smart takes, hard hits, real talk. That's what we do here at the Lariat Lounge. I will never apologize for that, and I promise I will never intentionally lead you astray like some of these jackasses that host other podcasts.
Welcome to the Lariat Lounge. This is the home of smart takes, hard hits, and real talk. I'm your host, Everson Godfrey, co-host Andrew Skeens. Skeener, Saturday night's main event has come and gone. Another one in the books. There's some interesting takes that have come from Saturday night's main event and further on Monday Night Raw. I said it when we were on the live stream on Saturday, which I hope you all came out and hung out with us. If you haven't seen it, there's video on demand. It's on YouTube. We had a good time, ate some pizza, enjoyed the show. I thought this was easily one of the better cards of the latter half of the year. And it was small. It was compact. It did its job. And obviously we got a new world champion, but we also have a new WWE women's champion. So there's quite a bit to talk about today. We're going to cover all of the results of Saturday night's main event, and we're going to cover the fallout on Raw. So hang around, stick around with us. We'll be covering all of that. Skeener, how you doing today, man?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Starting to get a little chillier here, but it is November. So I always mourn the summer here in the late fall because I'm not a cold weather person. So anytime it starts getting colder and chillier, it's a little sad. It's a little sad, but
what's the weather like for you right now? What is the temperature right now?
So it's okay. It's around like 50, 55, but we've got gusts up to like 35 today. So like Milwaukee, it's going to be like every day is going to be like probably between 30 and 40 mile an hour gusts until like May. So that's what makes it suck a little bit.
So the wind chill factor plays a big difference in Milwaukee? Yeah,
in the winter, really. That's when you get to around 0 and that wind chill makes it feel like negative 15 the whole day. It's biting is the word I'd use.
Yeah, I would use something worse than biting, but we don't get those 0 degrees around here. So, I definitely count our blessings when it comes to that.
But my real complaint is that, I mean, I think I'm sure we've got new listeners, but I teach golf for a living. So I'm outside hitting golf balls a lot. And for those of you that haven't seen me, I have long hair. So really my main complaint with the wind is that when I go outside and it's that windy and I'm hitting golf balls, I have to tie my hair back or put my hair up, and I didn't grow all this to put it up and not show it off. So it's just a little annoying.
Listen,
so
man,
that's a main concern.
Take a tip from your tribal chief. Embrace the man bun. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
No, it's fine, but I don't prefer it. It's more laziness than anything, probably.
I used to love when I had my dreads. I used to love the man bun. I loved it on the top, on the back. It didn't matter. With a baseball cap was the best. I genuinely loved it. Honestly,
that's what I've always wear a hat when I'm playing golf or hitting golf balls. So, I've got to thread it through the hole, and it's a whole big thing that I just don't want to deal with.
Oh, the first world problems, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, we're glad you guys are here. Skeener, if we have people here who are new, and let's say they brought a friend, let's say it's bring your friend to the lounge day, and they were like, hey, where are we going? And they're like, hey, it's a surprise. Not going to tell you till we get there. And then they show up.
You don't know how you got here. If you're here, you have no idea. Yeah. If you have no idea how you got here and you're wondering how to get back, this is the Lariat Lounge. We're coming at you once a week, every week in this podcast format, wherever you get your podcasts. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all your other platforms you love. We're up there. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. You can DM us there. Always feel free to interact with us. And if social media is not your thing, send us a shout at the Lariat Lounge at gmail.com.
Please. And listen, anywhere you guys are listening to us, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, please give us a like rating wherever you're at. It is a simple thing for you, but for us, it means the world. So we appreciate it. But hey, we've got some wrestling to get into. So enough with the fluff. Let's get to the stuff. So Skeena, let's just start right at the
current
top.
El Grande, how hard he's committing to the gimmick.
Big news from Saturday, which is Dominic Mysterio is still your Intercontinental Champion and the best part of WWE Pro Wrestling, in my opinion. No, seriously though. Let's start with Dom because I'm not joking. That match was incredible. I think that was honestly my match of the night on a card that I thought was absolutely incredible. I don't think there was a match that I thought that was bad. In fact, I think if I had to rank all four of them, the match that I had at the very end, like the fourth place match, was also great. And so, that's just the win-win when you're dealing with a good card. But, Skeena, what were your thoughts overall of Saturday night's main event and the card in general?
As we were talking about as it was happening, it was really fun, really good. I mean, Saturday night's main event, they've done a really good job with, at least in recent memory. They don't overload it. They keep it to, 4 or 5 really good matches, spread them out over a couple hours, give them time, give you some other fun stuff. And it always delivers, or at least it does for me. And I thought Saturday was no different. Four matches that held my interest and were entertaining throughout. I didn't think there were any lulls in that card at all.
Yeah, I agree. I love genuinely what Saturday night's main event has become. They are great gap fillers between your major tentpole PLEs. Like, you don't always have to have something major happen on these Saturday night main event PLEs, but there can be. You can have things that can happen there. And I think it's
that next one's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, well, and listen, that's what I'm saying, right? So they can fill the gap when a stop point is missing, right? And in those fillers, you can place big things on them. We've had Goldberg's retirement. We're going to have John Cena's last match. They can do these things, and we can have title changes. We can have big story arc developments. All those things can happen. They can function on that level with regards to giving us something that is meaty, that is juicy, and that, really seeps the ongoing stories in more lore than what they had before, just like any other PLE does. But it doesn't have to, right? For every one of those type of, matches that we have on Saturday night's main event, we can have matches where, it is the midpoint of a feud. The feud is not over. Like, for instance, there's no way in the world that Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre are done with one another. Not yet. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hope not.
They're not
I've
done
been
with
preaching that, but I hope not.
Yeah, I don't think they're done with each other. And I think this was a great mid-level encounter for Drew and Cody, right? Particularly because they're big names at the top of the card for their show. So you're not going to have them in one-on-one matches just on Raw. So you have to have some matches every now and then, because I definitely believe that a genuinely good feud does not need to have one match as the sole wrestling interaction between the two individuals. And I'm not talking about them, facing against each other in a tag match where, they're members of the opposing teams. They need to have some one-on-one conflicts and not just, brawls and, the occasional brawl and your promo spots. So I like the fact that this is not the end point for Drew and Cody, but they needed to have a match, right? And Saturday night's main event is a great stage for a match that is more marquee, but not necessarily the blow-off or the rematch that is from the blow-off. They need to have a place. And I like that Saturday night's main event is filling those gaps. So we don't have to wait until Survivor Series, right, to get our first encounter between these two. But hey, let's start there since we're hanging around Cody and Drew. And that was our opener. Cody Rhodes defends his undisputed WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre. I thought that this match was, let's see, what were the other 3 matches? Oh yeah, I thought that of the 4 matches on this card, this was the weakest one. And this was a great match. And it's with the undisputed WWE champion in it and Drew McIntyre. So that sets the tone, in my opinion, for the quality of this PLE and just how good it was. But Cody and Drew had a really great match. And the official got taken out, if I'm not mistaken, right? And McIntyre brings the title into the ring. Oh, that's it. Yep. He brings the title into the ring, and then Cody cheats. Cody cheats, everyone. I'm hope you would know this if you watched, but in case you were under a rock on Saturday, Cody cheated the win. Yes, Drew brought the WWE Championship into the ring, but when the title was dropped, Cody purposefully did his Cody Cutter to Drew on the WWE Championship. And for good measure, he then gets up and kicks the title out the ring so the ref doesn't see it. Cody's a cheater. I like Cody just as much as the next person. But Cody has layers to him. And because he is the quintessential good guy, he's all the way at the top of that good meter. That means that all of his layers are beneath that. Which means anything else that he does other than be the white meat babyface means that he's doing something that is beneath his zenith. And doing things like this, and this is not the first time Cody's done stuff like this, it makes me feel like there is a legitimate reason why somebody who doesn't like Cody could point to something like this and say, see, Cody's not the good guy. And I don't think we should get wrapped up too much in why people feel that way, right? Because there is a subset of the community who looks at wrestling the way we look at wrestling, where it is an entertainment form that we enjoy, and we speculate on these things because it's fun to speculate on them. And then there is a contingent of people who, for lack of wanting to discredit folks, they live and breathe this, and they talk about this stuff like it's real life. And I'm not one of those people, but I get them. And so this is just ammunition for, somebody looking at Cody and thinking, nah, Cody's not the good guy that he proclaims himself to be. And I think it could eventually foreshadow the contingent of fans that are in the arenas who want to boo Cody. And I think it's going to happen. It's inevitable. It happened in AEW. And I think that, it could absolutely happen here. But Skeener, your thoughts on the match and Cody being a dirty little cheater.
So I enjoyed the match. I guess you can say, yeah, it was the weakest match, but I think it was set up to be. I mean, when you look at what happened and what you had, what the table was set like for the other matches, this one was always going to be. I don't think anyone was under the auspice that there was a real chance that Drew McIntyre would win the title here, so that kind of takes some juice out of it. The stipulation they introduced was good, that Cody would lose the title if he was counted out or DQ'd like he was last time when he struck Drew with the title. And I think the finish gives us somewhere to go. There's obviously more meat on the bone. Drew has legitimate complaints that, hey, Cody used this title. He should have been disqualified. And I should be the champion. And I mean, I assume that's what we're going to get on Friday. And I think, maybe are we going to blow this off at Survivor Series in a cage match? Can you have a normal cage match in the War Games double cage rings? I don't know. We'll see. But that's what I was thinking initially. But I like what was done here, and I like how it sets the table for us going forward. And I still am holding out hope that Drew gets his hands on that title before 2026, like I predicted. So
Yeah.
we'll all hold our breath, I guess.
I would love to see Cody and Drew in a like a no holds barred match, like a no DQ for the title, because it seems like that was they did a play on that here, which is, you know, it's a straight up championship match, but there is no champion's advantage, or better said, both combatants have the advantage, right? And that was a very interesting stipulation. So I could definitely see a world where Drew complains about how Cody should have been disqualified and that he used the title belt against him and that he should be champion right now. And maybe you get a no disqualification match for the title, right? That could be a way that you get that title off of Cody if you really want to go that route, because, you know, Drew could put a hurting on him with weapons not being barred. And, you know, that gives time for Drew to maybe win the title at Survivor Series. And then Cody could get it back if you wanted to carry this feud through the Royal Rumble, through Elimination Chamber, even into Mania. Now, do I think that this feud will make it to WrestleMania? I don't know. My initial thought would be no. You know what I mean? But at the same time, that would mean that you need to be heating something up around like right now to start planting the seeds for what happens at WrestleMania. And I think we said this before, but like, despite the fact that Cody is the undisputed WWE champion, it sometimes feels like he's floating. Like they don't have anything genuinely established for him, and they're writing good stories. They're telling great beats. And I think this Drew McIntyre feud has done exactly what it should be doing, which is great. But does this have the legs to make it through to Mania? I personally don't see that. But if it's not Drew, then who? Like, if it's not Drew, then Drew and Cody has to end at Survivor Series. It has to end at Survivor Series because the person who's next in line to challenge Cody is going to have to step up and start making their presence known. Because by the time we get to December, right, we're going to have that Saturday night's main event, and that's it for December. And then going into the new year, we've got, unless they do day one, which I'm not sure they're going to do that, but we've got the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. And I guess that's time to build something from December to April. You know what I mean? But it just seems like with the past feuds that have been the marquee feuds for WrestleMania, particularly the ones dealing with Cody, they were laying the seeds for these things way before then. So I don't know. We'll see.
Were they though? Because I mean, last year was Cena, and that wasn't until Elimination Chamber. I don't think.
Well, Cena was.
Yeah, we're turning towards WrestleMania, but we are currently like over 160 days out from WrestleMania. We still got a ways. So,
well, I mean, this is true. And listen, we won't see maybe the results of some of these actions until we start getting closer. And maybe they are laying down some things that we just don't see. I'm not throwing that, out of the window. But what I am saying is Cena and Cody is what ended up happening at WrestleMania. And that was built off the back of Cody and The Rock. Cody and The Rock was built up.
The Rock? Does he does this wrestling thing?
You talking about the Rock, right? Like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? Yeah. Yeah, he used to be a professional wrestler.
The guy that wants the soul.
Yeah. That's the soul guy. Not Rocky Johnson, not Soul Man. And not that other guy that takes souls, the Undertaker. Talking about Rock to Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, it started with him. And when did that start, though? That started all the way back at WrestleMania 40.
Well, that was the night after, wasn't it?
The night after 40.
Or was it? It was sometime around there.
He had just beat Roman.
Yeah, but that's when Brock came out too, right? So maybe it was after that. Maybe it was summer. I don't know. It was a while.
It was a while
But we
before
also
the
didn't
start
get any
of the year.
payoff with it, really.
Well,
So.
no, they didn't. And listen, whether you believe that was a pivot, or whether you believe that was part of the story, the fact of the matter is, in retrospect, we can see how the breadcrumbs were laid relatively early, but we won't see that until later on. So I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but where does Drew go if this is not moved forward with him to WrestleMania? I don't know. Who's to say? Like you said, we're a long ways out. So
Yeah, for right now, I'm enjoying where we're going. I think we all know this is not over. And, I think this is where Drew belongs, is at the top and in this title picture. And like I said, I'm still holding out hope that at some point he gets his hands on that belt. Even if it's just for a little bit to lose it back to Cody. Ultimately, I think he kind of deserves that. We're still waiting for him to get that title run in front of fans.
Yes.
Really. Because he carried the company during the COVID and Thunderdome era, really. Or, as much as anyone can carry it when there's no fans. But
sure.
I still think he deserves that moment more than the few seconds he got at WrestleMania 40.
Oh, I don't disagree. And I would venture to think that if they're going to pull the trigger on Drew, even if it's only for a short stint at the time, Cody's got his number so far. You know what I mean? And he got this win here. So at some point, in order for Drew to seem like a legitimate challenger, you got to give him one. You know what I mean? And it's like the last big feud that he had before Cody was what was it? Who was he feuding with before Cody?
I mean, Jacob Fatu before
okay. And did he beat Jacob? No, Jacob went out injured.
No, Jacob got, yeah.
So who was he feuding with before Jacob?
I mean, he's been in a 10-year feud with the Dirt Sheets, always talking how he's going to leave the company. And who was it before Jacob? Damian Priest.
Okay. And
they had a little issue.
It was Damian Priest. And who came out on top of that one? Was it Drew?
I think at the very end, Damian Priest, he won a cage match on one of the Saturday night's main events earlier in the year.
Okay. And before Damian Priest, was it Punk?
No. That would have been, who was he really with before then? That would have been back on Raw. Yeah, I guess Punk was the last major one before that. He did. I don't remember. He was kind of floating around there.
I think it was the last major one. But if you look at that, he lost to Punk. He lost to Damian Priest. And, he didn't get to finish anything with Jacob. And now he's with Cody, right? So at some point, you've got to give this man a dub, right? He's got to get the overall W, not just a W within the feud. So where do you serve him up this W? If it's not with Cody now, which is at the tippity top of the card, according to the way that wrestling appears to, tier their top titles, where does he go? If he gets washed here, like that, you know what I mean? Like that's a hard pill to swallow to try and keep Drew at the top of the card. And then he takes a solid loss to Cody, which is now 3 feuds in a row that he has caught he's caught the big L on. Like, they got to give him one, which would make me think, okay, maybe you do this at Survivor Series. Maybe he can drop it back to Cody, after that. But I don't know, man. Like, he's got to get a W soon. That's all I'm saying. He's got to get one soon. So.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I see what you're saying. I just don't know. I guess I don't realize or think of Drew as someone who's been losing all the time, but I guess he is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you do have those guys who are just made men, which is no matter what position you put them in, they're always going to be received well by the crowd, which is fine. But at the very same time, who doesn't want to be a guy who's not winning feuds? Like, who doesn't want to be the champion? And if Drew keeps getting put in this position where he is the premium enhancement talent to put in these feuds that can either carry them or help take them to the next level, and then he does not get put over in that way. I don't know, man. It's sometimes hard to justify what my man said in the chat that one night when we were on a live, which was he really wants to see Drew at the top spot again. It's hard to justify that because he doesn't ever win the big one. They don't ever put him in that position. So we'll just have to see. I love Drew McIntyre as well. And, I definitely think that he is overdue for something like a title run like that. So, we'll have to see. Hopefully we don't have to get another person that's injured, before he can get a title run. That's not the way you really want to get it. But the next match that was on our card was actually the title change of the night, which we both predicted. Let me first acknowledge that Skeens had the winning record of Saturday night's main event because he chose Cody in the championship match, and I chose Drew. I voted with my heart. He voted with
even though we both wanted Drew, but
yes, Drew is number one in our heart. He just wasn't number one on the card. So yeah, it is what it is. But Tiffany Stratton drops the title to Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill is your new WWE Women's Champion. Pretty much, gang, this was a slaughter. Tiffany got a little bit of offense in, but Jade very handedly dominated this match. And she really put Tiffany down. Now, to Tiffany's credit, she went into this match, quote unquote, injured with that knee injury, and Jade took full advantage of it. But listen, this is as close to a squash of a main event with main eventers as you're going to get. And Jade definitely put the brakes to Tiffany Stratton. And she's your new world champion, which honestly, if you listen to this podcast, you know Skeens and I's position on this, which is no disrespect to Miss Stratton. I think she is a phenomenal wrestler, and I think she's come a very, very long way in a very short amount of time. And that's to be commended. And I think that she is going to do great things still on the roster, and she will be a world champion again at some point. This title run from one Tiffany Stratton, however, whether it was on her or whether it was on the company, which I tend to err a little bit more on the company when it comes to these things because the wrestlers do not have the latitude oftentimes to write their own stories or book themselves. Her WWE women's title run was very lackluster. And her competition that she went up against was fine, but there is a bit of onus that you have to place on the person who's holding the title. And she can definitely wrestle, but there was just something that was missing. And, there's not one single thing that you can point to. You can't necessarily just point to her personality. You can't just point to the people who she wrestled against because she wrestled against quite a few people, some legends. I mean, you were literally given every single thing that one would need to make their title run successful. And though she was successful on a records level, her title run, I personally feel like is not going to be one that people are going to really be reminiscing on, that they're really going to be thinking about, and it will be forgotten. But that's just my opinion. It's a harsh take, but listen, Smart Takes is preceding hard hits and real talk. And so those last two things have to be present. Otherwise, this is not the Lariat Lounge. Skeens, your thoughts on the title change and our new WWE Women's Champion?
It kind of feels long overdue almost that we've been building to this crowning moment for Jade. Obviously, been a little start-stop with some injuries and stuff, but I'm glad we got here, and I'm just kind of excited to see a little shake up and get, like we've been saying, a little more juice in the WWE women's title scene. And as I've been saying, I think that I really dig what the scar on the eyebrow does for Jade's character. I think it just gives a nice little edge, and we'll see where Tiffany goes from here because, just gives her an opportunity to flesh out that character as it faces some adversity, because she really, since she won Money in the Bank, hasn't had much adversity. She's, cashed in, won the title, and then beat everyone. So we'll see where she goes from here. I think this is a good thing for all parties involved. And hopefully we get a little juice, a little new stuff on SmackDown. But, there's some weight to pull, because if I could easily see this Jade reign being the same as Tiffany if we just do the same stuff, which is what makes me kind of hesitant, but at least it's got that new car smell right now. So I don't want to be overly pessimistic, but I have to be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with you at all. I think there is the potential for this to be a reincarnation of Tiffany's title run. I think that has a whole lot more to do with WWE's booking of their women's division and just
on
generally
SmackDown,
on SmackDown. On SmackDown.
The pieces just aren't on the board.
No, they're really not. They're really not there. And it's hard for me in this moment to really even consider who is Jade's first challenger. Like, who is her first challenger that they have built up to be a credible threat outside of the usual suspects? Nia Jax.
No, nobody aside from the usual. So that's where we're at. That's where the caution comes in. For me.
But see, I don't even know who that is right now outside of Nia Jax, because the only three people that have been orbiting that realm, and one of them has not been orbiting that much, has been Nia Jax. Tiffany's been champion and Jade's been the other. So Jade's the new champion. Okay. Let's say, for the sake of this conversation, Jade's first feud is with Nia, because Nia has been orbiting that scene along with her. There's familiarity there. And the last time the three of them were in the ring, right, it just makes sense that you would go that route with Jade. Well, if you go that route with Jade, then where does Tiffany go? Like, is she still orbiting this certain space, or does she go down the card and she's, wrestling people like Julia and her crony, whose name I always forget, and Kiana James. Thank you. Like, is she going down to wrestle them? Because, no disrespect to Kiana James and Julia, but they seem like a step down just because of how WWE plays fast and loose with their tiering system and who's in what space, right? Chelsea Green's in that picture. But we haven't done anything to make Chelsea Green or Julia feel like they belong in the top echelon of the title scenes. And so you just have this lack of building.
To be fair, Chelsea Green's doing stuff in AAA. She is the one half of the AAA mixed champions.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she won the mixed titles with Ethan Page.
Interesting.
So yeah, she's doing some stuff down there. So she may be doing that for a bit. I don't know, but obviously Dom does AAA stuff and Raw.
She hasn't been carrying around any AAA titles,
have we?
Yeah, we've seen her.
She just won it.
Well, okay,
I think maybe over the weekend.
Oh, well, okay, that makes sense. Okay, I'm about to say we've seen her in some backstage segments, and I haven't seen any AAA gold with her. So, but
it's very recent. It may have been over the weekend.
Well, listen, that's a good thing for her, right? That's a good thing for her. That brings her another way of gloating on screen, but it's also something that you're not going to get to see her compete with on WWE programming. You're going to have to watch AAA because they're not doing any mixed tag intergender matches on Raw or SmackDown. So that's good for her. But like, she's not positioned to be someone who is challenging Jade for the WWE Women's Championship.
Yeah, we really don't have anyone positioned.
They don't.
If we're being honest, because Nia just took a loss to Alexa Bliss. And I'm not saying like one loss kills her, but you would think if they're positioning her as the challenger, she wouldn't have just lost to Alexa Bliss. And yeah, I don't know. Like we've been saying, it's a good opportunity to kind of introduce or reintroduce someone, and we'll see if they take it.
Yeah, we keep saying this, and I think that this scene is prime for some call-ups. And listen, in light of the fact that according to what I heard online, and as we all know, everything that you read online is 100% true.
Especially wrestling news.
Essentially wrestling news, right?
The most reliable journalism occurs in professional wrestling.
Absolutely. Without fail, these people who report in professional wrestling are A, very seldomly wrong, and B, Skeeter, when they are wrong, they always admit when they're wrong. They do. Always.
They're the nicest of the nice people, too.
I'm telling you, they are quick to shoot out a retraction and let you know that they made a mistake. But from what I heard, we're not going to get any surprise entrants in the Royal Rumble, men or women. And that's not because...
I'll go ahead and doubt that one.
Well, now here's the thing. It's not because there aren't going to be new faces in the Rumble. But the part of the rationale, which I can understand the basis of it, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I can understand why this is a thing that is being proposed. They're saying that we'll get new entrants, new participants in the Rumble, and that in the days and weeks leading up to the Rumble, these people will make appearances on Raw, on SmackDown. You know what I'm saying? If they do any type of like sub PLEs, like a Saturday Night's Main Event before that date, we'll get some of these people coming. And the reason being is because trying to hide talent on a Saudi flight or Saudi flights, right, is going to be a very difficult task to try to keep them under wraps to, to get them into the Rumble. It's not like having the Royal Rumble in Philly and flying somebody out early, right? Or getting them out there earlier than the show so that you can kind of hide them away from the public and the press. It's going to be much more difficult to keep their flight logs, keep their travel off of social media. And so to introduce them first, right, maybe build some slight angles around who's going to be joining the Rumble that builds that anticipation for their entrance into the Rumble without having to try and hide them for a surprise entrance into the Rumble. If that's true, I could see for the Women's Rumble, maybe you bringing in on an intentional basis some individuals who may become a mainstay on the women's roster. I don't know who that is, but I can guarantee you NXT has some talent that even if you're not trying to pluck the best, which if I'm being honest, I feel like that's what the feeder system is supposed to do. You're supposed to pluck the ripest and you put them on the main roster, and then you take the people that are left there and you start building the next star. But even if they did not want to do that, let's say they don't pluck a Lola Vice, or they don't pluck a Lash Legend, or they don't pluck a JC Jane, right? You can pluck some other people and they can fill in some of the lower rungs on the main roster, and then you can elevate some of your other people up. Maybe you can bring somebody in to fill in the space that Chelsea Green fills, and then you can push Chelsea Green to the moon. You can put her in that upper stratosphere where she can be competing with some of these other people. You can write a decent story to make it work. But I agree. They need an infusion, and they need one yesterday, because as much as I am excited about Jade being champion, unless they give her a Goldberg run, or you know what, better said, unless they give her a Jade Cargill early AEW run, I don't know how you make this much different than Tiffany's run. Like, you could do it if you do an early AEW Jade Cargill run where it's like her matches are not long and she's brutalizing people, just overpowering them. That would be a really great lane for her to be in. We know that it works, and she's much better in the ring now than she was then. So maybe you go that route and just have her championship run be very different than Tiffany's, in the sense that, like, you're not getting these, 10-minute, 11-minute matches like you got with Tiffany. You might get 5 and you make it count. You know what I'm saying? And you hide maybe where some of her weaknesses may be and highlight her strengths, which is her strength, and just make that work for her. I think that would be a pretty decent way of going about handling Jade. But, I'm not in the writer's room, so, I don't get paid the big bucks to come up with these things. I just talk about them on the podcast. But, what are your thoughts about that? Do you think that could be something that would work for Jade, or do you think that they would need to go a different route to make her championship run something that feels viable?
I mean, I think either way is viable. We just need more juice and new faces, because that's what made it stale with Tiffany. Is it was the same people over and over. If it wasn't them, it was no one. So I think that's where we get some juice, and I'm, again, cautiously optimistic we can see some of that this coming Friday on SmackDown, but TBD. And we'll report back with our thoughts on what happens next week.
Yeah, I guess that's all we really can do. That's all we really can do is just wait and see where that goes. So next, let's get to the marquee match of the evening, folks. The creme de la creme, okay? The pièce de résistance, the zenith, the peak of Mount Everest, Intercontinental Champion and AAA El Campeón, Dirty Dominic Mysterio defeats Penta and Rusev in a triple threat match to retain his Intercontinental Championship. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell who my favorite was in this match and who I cared about the most, but unless you don't know, it's Dominic Mysterio, the greatest luchador of all time. And this was a great match. I think that whenever you get these three in the ring, I think they're really good. Rusev has been showing out in a way that I am really happy he's able to do. And he's being put in matches where he can shine. And I think that they should do a good job by him with regards to eventually taking him out of this tier, along with Penta and Dom, actually, and bringing them and escalating them to a higher echelon in WWE. But this match was great. The finishing sequence of this match, chef's kiss. I mean, that right there is quintessential heel storytelling at its finest. If you are not aware of how this match ended, Skeener, can you please fill our good friends in on how awesome the end of this match was?
Yeah, we had a great match, as most WWE triple threat matches tend to be, because you can do more things with more pieces, and you don't have to have as much downtime when someone can exit the match when they need to rest. So essentially, we end up in a situation where Rusev gets Penta in the Accolade, his camel clutch variant, and Penta is struggling, and the bell rings, and Rusev starts celebrating, but the referee is looking around confused, and the bell keeps ringing, and Rusev keeps celebrating and asking for his hand to be raised, and lo and behold, the dastardly and ingenious Dominic Mysterio has slunk over to the timekeeper's area and has been ringing the bell to pull the wool over Rusev's eyes and get him to relinquish his submission hold that was probably going to actually win the match. And Dom has gotten one over, and then he gets back involved, and the Hammer gets involved in the match, but we end up with Dom stealing a victory after. Did he use the Hammer? He did, right?
He did. No, so he had the Hammer in the ring, and he was going to try and use it, and Penta stopped him from using
Penta,
it.
yes.
And then Penta gets the Hammer. He goes to hit Dom with it. He accidentally hits Rusev with it. And then for some reason, Penta freezes like, oh man, my bad. I didn't mean to hit you, even though it's a triple threat match and you and Rusev are not in an alliance. But he's, momentarily stunned. That's rule 746 in the wrestling handbook, that if you hit the wrong person with a weapon, be it your friend, your enemy apparently, or the referee, you always have to be stunned because you missed your target. And Dom takes full advantage of this and throws Penta into the ring post. I think
he threw Rusev into the
Rusev got hit with the Hammer.
Yeah,
he throws Penta
you're right.
out the ring.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And then he does the frog splash onto Rusev, who was also hit by the Hammer, and he gets the victory. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have to give a slow clap, okay? Because Dominic Mysterio and his character, I truly believe, is the most well-rounded character that WWE currently has on their roster. That is a big statement because we have big characters in big spots. This is on a roster with the likes of Cody Rhodes, with the likes of Seth Rollins, with the likes of Roman Reigns. Like, we're talking about marquee people here. I think Dominic Mysterio is more of a complete character than all three of those men. And I think he has more room for growth than all of them. And it's not to say that these other wrestlers can't grow. My thing is, Dom has the entire package and he's not on their level yet. It's like he's got so much room before he gets to the proverbial ceiling that he's going to have to break through. And the crowd is already behind him. And he occupies the Eddie Guerrero space. Nobody else operates in that space. I think the closest person that you may have is maybe Becky Lynch, but she doesn't handle it the same way, right? Dom is very quick to quote unquote lie, cheat, and steal to keep his championship. And he is so blatant with it, but he's also so great when it comes to what he's doing. And I also love the fact that unlike Eddie, he's not always successful. He tries to cheat all the time and gets caught. And it just makes his character more endearing, and it makes him funny, and it makes him someone that we can really cheer for because it's fun to cheer for him. And I absolutely believe this, that Dominic Mysterio is a future world champion. Like, to not capitalize on that, the better Mysterio, in my opinion, is foolish. And listen, you gave the title many times to his half pint dad. Okay, give the title to Dom. Let Dom carry the Mysterio name to heights that literally Ray can't reach, and let the man be as great as his mustache is. Those are my sentiments. Skeena, your thoughts on this match, bro?
Yeah, we talked about it on the live stream. That finish, him ringing the bell. I'm not sure if it's the first time it's ever been done in wrestling. Probably not, but it's the first time I can recall it, and it was just so great, so well done, fits so well within the character. And they've just, Dominic Mysterio has been a character through good performance from the wrestler and good storytelling and creative decisions behind him that we have just seen develop and grow up on the screen these past, 5-6 years. Yeah. And it's just been masterful to where we are now. And he's a bona fide superstar now. There is no reason he's not, or I want to be careful with how I say this because he probably is already, but he's going to be, if he isn't now, an even bigger, like one of the biggest stars in the business.
Yeah.
Like, he's got everything. And it's just the crowd reactions he gets, and it's awesome to watch. And he's one of the best parts of every show he's on, with that primarily just because of the character he's built. And then he can do his part and back it up in the ring, which just puts it over the top.
Yeah.
And and what we saw on Monday, I loved. And I think we're going in a great spot to rehash an older rivalry.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And listen, that rivalry with Dom and his dad has a lot of room for a lot of interesting things. And I hope that they take advantage of that. You know what the first thing I thought when I saw them on Monday, when I saw Ray come out there?
Well, you tell me your first thing and I'll tell you mine because I'm sure it's different.
The first thing that I thought was, I hope that by the end of this feud, Ray is on Dom's side.
Oh.
That, I hope that this starts the way that it starts, because the way that this is starting seems like it's rehashing of old things. And that's fine because everybody loves Ray, but it's also been done. Like, I would love for this to end with not only Rey Mysterio conceding that Dom is the greater Mysterio, right? And listen, by name only, because listen, the man clearly told Ray that he needs to stop invoking his dad's name.
That was a great moment when he said, "Keep my when so yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, Rey Mysterio returns on Monday after Dom comes, does the typical sets the stage for someone else to challenge him, comes out and starts crowing about how he's the great intercontinental champion, greatest luchador of all time, and who would return except his deadbeat dad,
Deadbeat dad.
as they say, Rey Mysterio, who we haven't seen since before WrestleMania, and definitely wasn't expecting that because he had been kind of out of sight, out of mind. But who better to come and slap Dom down when he's getting a little too big headed? But the thing I first thought, because Ray comes out there and he's got his black dress mask on, looking a little formal, and Ray is sporting a mustache and goatee that are suspiciously dark black for a man his age. And I think he may have been hanging out with Vince in his time off and got into the hair dye.
Yeah.
And because that black mustache was very, very prominent.
Very much was.
Maybe it's a fresh, dry job and it'll fade, but that's what caught my eye at first. But yeah, they're having a great back and forth, and he who's the first name? He said El Santo.
I believe
was
El
that
Santo.
The first guy? He said, yeah. He said, Dom, you're not the greatest luchador. What about El Santo? What about Blue Demon? What about Eddie Guerrero? And yeah, when he mentions Eddie, Dom has to hit him with "Keep my father's name out of your mouth," which is just a fantastic little touch.
Absolutely. It's these little things, man, that, that in my mind just make Dom the greatest luchador of all time. And listen, he said it he said that as much, right? That he's better than all those guys, even Eddie. Mm-hmm. And he's definitely better than the guy that Ray conspicuously left out, which was Rey Mysterio. And so
he did at the end say, "You will never be the greatest Mysterio."
Oh yeah, as long as he's around. As long as
so
he's
we got
around.
there.
Yeah, we got there.
Yeah, Ray's not going to toot his own horn too much.
No,
just a little bit.
No, but my hope is that we go through this feud, and by the end of it, Ray is on Dom's side. Like, I would love to see Dom being Dom, and now Ray being like the heel gloating dad. Like, he gets to run around and being the heel gloating dad that's talking about how great Dom is, and that Dom is the greatest luchador of all time. And it's going to sting in a heelish way even more because it's coming from Ray. And when's the last time we got to see Ray do something heelish?
I mean, never in WWE.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this would be something brand new for Ray, and it's something else that he can do with his son. And
it would. They 100% would not get booed. I think that would push Dom even more towards his eventual face turn.
Oh.
If you put those two together in the Dom style, I think it would be even more over than Dom already is.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get the boos that are boos because we know we're supposed to boo, but people would love that even more, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I wonder, it could go either way, in my opinion, right? It could go either way just because I try to keep in the front of my brain at all times that the fans are fickle. And as much as we love Dom right now, we love Dom because it doesn't seem like we were deliberately made to like Dom. And whenever we're given something that we feel like we are able to like, but was not, force fed to us in any way, we're fine with it. But when we start to feel like they're leaning into something, there are always a contingent of people who don't like to be curated. And they will boo when they're supposed to cheer and cheer when they're supposed to boo. And they'll do it just because I don't care about your stupid rules and I'm going to do what I want. And I feel like there's a possibility that if you bring Ray in, there will be a contingent of people who will obviously boo because it's part of the social contract that we have. But they may also boo because they don't like it. And to those people, I don't care. I think it'd be a cool idea. I think it'd be a super cool idea to have Ray be the gloating dad. You know what I mean? Or
I do. I think it's a great idea. I didn't mean to say it
Oh, no,
wasn't
I
a
got
great
you.
idea.
No, I hear you. Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea. You could even do Ray being forced into it, right? Like Ray has to come out and begrudgingly through gritted teeth tell everyone everywhere he goes that that Dom is the greater luchador. Hey, this idea just popped into my head. I'm gonna say this real quick, and then I'm gonna cede the floor to you because you had an idea that I don't think you voiced. But
Did I have an idea?
you
I
said
don't
you
think I
did.
did.
You said I was gonna go first, and then you were gonna say yours.
Yeah, no, that was the what did you think of when you first
Oh,
saw
I got
Ray?
you.
And I thought he's been hanging out with Vince and cut into his mustache.
Let me ask you this. What if Ray, like John Cena and like AJ Styles, is gearing up for retirement and he wants to do a program with Dom because it's going to be one of the last programs that he does? What if Ray ends up wrestling Dom for, I don't know, something that has to do with the luchador culture, right? And he puts his mask on the line and he loses to Dom. And Dom takes his mask. And this is why Ray is doing the dye job, because he's about to unmask himself and retire.
That's possible. I think he did the dye job because he's got a fucking gray beard and he's a little self-conscious about it. But I actually like that idea. That would be cool.
I think it'd be a great reason for him to come back and just all of a sudden go back into a feud with Dom.
Yeah. I mean, that would certainly be a gigantic moment for Dominic to unmask possibly the greatest luchador of all time. And
aside from himself.
But I don't know. I don't know what the dynamics of that are and how Ray feels about that or what. But that would, in isolation, if we're just fantasy booking and we can do that, I think that would be cool. And that keeps some of the heelish heat on Dom for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And look, if I'm being honest, the luchador spirit in WWE is stronger than it's literally ever been before. Okay. It's so strong. WWE has at current 1, 2, 3, 4 prominent luchadors on the main roster. Penta, Rey Fenix, Dragon Lee, and Axiom, right? These are 4 luchas that are on the main roster that get prime time, that are not, slotted behind something ridiculous that is Latino coded all the time.
El Grande Americano.
Oh, listen, I was literally about to say, you got white guys who are not Latino dressing up as,
and I tell you what, I don't know if you've
luchadors.
seen it, but they, in AAA and in Mexico, they love El Grande Americano.
Why wouldn't they, man? Like
the reactions he gets, and
dude,
I love it.
Dude, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? Listen, to touch on this really quick, I remember back when El Grande Americano was still being portrayed by Chad Gable, right? Sorry if you didn't know that. Spoiler alert. It was Chad Gable behind the mask. When he was still portraying El Grande Americano, if you remember, Skeeter, there was a contingent of people that were on the internet who were like, this is mad disrespectful to the lucha culture.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's kind of why I bring it up.
That Latino people just don't like this, man. Like they're just not a fan of this. And to that I say, do you see the AAA crowds though? Because that's as lucha gets, and they love El Grande Americano. Why? Because they love their culture, and because they love their culture, they don't take it as seriously as you think they do. Like they love it, but they have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like they have fun with it. It works. They are a wrestling promotion, and so it's a fun idea. You know what I mean? I thought that it was goofy at the time, and I was hoping that they keep going with it because it has a goofy spot. It's fun. And I thought that the little fake history that they were giving him, the little AI lore that they were giving him, I thought it was hilarious.
So
I thought it was hilarious. But there were some people out there who's like, that's mad disrespectful to the lucha culture. And
I forgot about that AI video. That was so good though.
Those were so hilarious. And it's like every picture in the AI videos were like different. Like he had like a different body shape and a different skin tone. And he was ripped in one picture and then he was kind of fluffy in the next one. And it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, why are y'all getting so bent out of shape like this? It's clearly satire. Like,
did you see that the current El Grande, how hard he's committing to the gimmick.
What do you mean?
Ludwig Kaiser has been he's been spotted with a new Latin lady.
Wait. Hold on.
Yes, this is outside what we would normally discuss on the show, but
wait, what are we talking about here?
We're talking
Ludwig
about
Kaiser is El Grande Americano?
Yeah, some would say that.
Damn it, Skeena.
But El Grande Americano has been spotted with the I believe WWE's Mexican ambassador.
Really?
They were holding hands coming out of a AAA event, and they've been spotted in public together. So he has fully embraced the culture. I will say that.
So he has left Tiffany Stratton.
Yes.
Before she fell off the boat.
I guess.
That's crazy. He just embraced the lucha culture. He saw the writing on the wall. Tiffany's going down, lucha's going up, and he just decided that he was just going to hitch his wagon to the ship that's rising with the tide.
Living the gimmick.
Hey, listen. Honestly, do you, Ludwig? Do you, man? I did not know. First of all, I did not know that Ludwig Kaiser was El Grande Americano. That's news to me. Next thing you're going to tell me that like Butch is one of his luchador dudes. But, so I didn't know that. Butch. And I didn't know that, he was not with Tiffany Stratton anymore either. So, I mean, this is just a night of news for me, guys. Like, all this is catching me off guard. But this is what I'm saying, man. It's like lucha is hotter than it's ever been in WWE. What better time for Ray to step away? You know what I'm saying? Like his son is literally on the ascent to greatness, right? He's carrying the Mysterio name forward. And from a cultural standpoint, with the acquisition of AAA is on a bigger stage than it's ever been on before. The lucha presence is stronger in WWE than it's ever been before. Ray has nothing else left that he has to either safeguard, you know what I'm saying, with regards to the culture of lucha in WWE or the representation of lucha in WWE. And his son is doing what his son is doing, carrying the Mysterio name forward. So it would be a great time, particularly because it seems like we're in this period right now where, like I've stated before, wrestlers of that era are winding down. John Cena is retiring. AJ Styles is retiring, right? Sheamus is wrestling less. Randy Orton is wrestling a whole lot less.
Ray's kind of a lot. Ray's before their time.
Oh, I know. He's been an anomaly for so long, right? How he keeps going. But like there ain't but so many like gene therapy and stem cell infusions that you can do to stave off Father Time.
Like, to me, he's almost like caught a second wind when you see him. Because back, maybe 2020-ish, that's when I thought, okay, it may be time. He's looking slower. He cannot jump with the explosiveness. But it's like he's caught a second wind since then. So, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, he's getting older, and there's no escaping that. But he can go more now than he could, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, seemingly.
Yeah, but it just seems like this is the cycle that Ray goes through, right? Like, the way you're feeling right now, I felt about Ray before that. And a few years before that. And this is not just me. Sorry, guys. No, this is not a gimmick. Like, it's not just me saying that, right? Like, I hear it in WWE from commentary all the time, where it's like, Ray seems like he's got a second wind here. Like, you know what I'm saying? The dude doesn't age when it comes to his ability in the ring, right? Yes, it's waned a bit from his very early days, right? And yes, we do see him getting older, so he doesn't do certain things, but he's staved this off much better and far longer than a lot of his contemporaries. And honestly, a lot of that probably has to do with his size, right? He's not carrying around as much weight, which means it's not as stressful on his bones, his joints. And he's tailored his style in a way that works better for him now. So he doesn't do certain things that are much riskier than, more risky for him. And he gets a lot of support from the people who are in the ring. He's a great wrestler to work with, and, people work well with Ray. So he's very well protected. And so he's been able to kind of stave this off longer than most would think. But, you know, you're never going to outrun time. And I think Ray is probably getting to the point where, like I said, there ain't but so many stem cell infusions you can get in them knees and them hips to keep him going forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not going to happen. And so he's got to realistically wind this down at some point. And it would seem like this could be a great time to do it. You know what I mean? It could literally be a great time to do it. Maybe you retire like AJ's retiring, where you're not broken. John Cena's doing the same thing when you're not broken. And honestly, dude, I would love to see that happen more in professional wrestling. Like, I have never been one of those guys, and you know this from hosting this podcast with me. I've never been one of those guys that's like, I need to see a bunch of the nostalgia guys come back. Like, that's no disrespect to them. I appreciate your contribution to professional wrestling, and I would prefer to remember you in your prime. I would prefer to remember you in your heyday. Like, I don't want to see you come back at 65. Like, you're doing what you love to do, and I can appreciate that. But when it comes to the product that you're putting forth, when it comes to the impact that you have on your legacy, I think it could be more detrimental than good. Like, when I looked at Goldberg's retirement match, I think that was far past due. Like, he should have been, as much as he wanted it, and as much as WWE wanted to make money off of it, he just came up in an era where it might have been better for him to just quietly retire and not come back and do the retirement match, because that was just not, in my opinion, the showing that I wanted to see from Goldberg going out. And I think that he deserved better, but I don't think that WWE could have done any better by him. You know what I'm saying? You had him in the ring with one of the best, which is Gunther. Gunther's going to protect him, but think about so much he can do, like, legitimately. Your muscles are not the same muscles they were 15 years ago. Even if they look like it, they don't function the same. And so, you know, he's just not able to do and be what he was. And I think that the match went down the way it did. And I think that that's showing for him. And then, of course, how Bill handles things, right? It's just his last match is more so talked about because of what he talked about afterwards than the match itself. And I think Ray, if he does this, like AJ Styles and like John Cena, just go out, man, while you're on top. Don't be a shell of yourself. And John was talking about this, and the one of the promo videos that was leading up to this John Cena The Last Time Is Now tournament, where he was talking about how, you know, he's not able to go the way he used to go anymore. He knows it and he sees it. And now is the time for him to step aside and let some of the other people handle it. He doesn't have to do this anymore. And there's the industry is in very capable hands. And I think that is a very fair, measured, and smart way to look at it. And I genuinely hope and wish that more talent would take a page out of those men's books, right? And just calculate the time you've got on your career, make the best of the time that you've got, and get out while you're ahead. Get out while you're ahead and retire. Go into the Hall of Fame, telling the great stories that you do, and then live this second life. Your second life now is on the internet. You know what I'm saying? You can host a pretty successful podcast off of the strength of your name, and you can tell your stories, and you can get bookings, and you can do a whole bunch of things that generations past did not have access to, or, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. So take your lumps, get your career goals in, retire while you're ahead, then live your second win career, and then, you know, don't tarnish your legacy. But what are your thoughts
on that? Ray rehabs, comes back 6 months, looking good, in shape, cuts a good promo, fresh dyed mustache, feeling good about himself, and Everson retires him 2 days later on our podcast.
Hey, listen, Ray's not retired.
That's a tough scene. You have retired him.
I have not retired Rey Mysterio. I have given him an adequate retirement plan. It's like getting with a retirement planner, right? You should plan your retirement. Listen, ladies and gentlemen,
you should start planning for retirement, right?
You should start planning for retirement right now, Ray. You and everybody else, if you are listening to this podcast and you work a career job and you've got a salary, start planning for retirement now. Don't wait until you get too old and then have to try to figure out all this shit when your income is slowing down. Life lesson from your boy, right? Plan for retirement now. Ray, plan for retirement now so that you can go out the way you want to. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and listen, this is all just conjecture because Ray got more money than I'll ever see in my life. Well, I don't know the future, but he's got more money than I've ever seen in my life. So he's set, he's good for life. Only thing he's got to preserve now is his legacy. It's not his bank account. And so when it comes to that, right, you got an easier path than most. I'm not telling you to go and retire now. I'm just saying that if his plan is to do this angle with,
we got a plan for you.
Listen,
to start retiring soon.
If I was on Ray's team, if I was in his inner circle, that's the conversation I'd be having with him. You know what I'm saying? We can drink a Modelo and we can talk about it. And I would let him know, hey, look, bro, I love you. I like, you're my brother. And I think that, you know, what we should be doing is thinking about your legacy. And, you know, what better way to round out your legacy on top while you can still go with your son who is firing into the stratosphere like a rocket. You know what I mean? Like that, like what better way for it to go out with your son? That's wild. That's wildly cool. And, you know, that honestly, I mean, I'm not even BSing, bro. If I was his friend, that's what I'd be talking to them about too. Straight up. And I don't think that's disrespectful. I think that's being honest with a friend.
We've gotten so far in the weeds here.
We have. This is what we do. You act like you don't work here.
Oh, Lord.
You act like you don't work here. All right. So, but no, seriously though, what are your thoughts about Rey Mysterio coming back on Monday, challenging Dom, I guess, because he hadn't really challenged him to anything except for the obvious that they're going to have some sort of match at some point. What are your thoughts about Rey entering the scene and going forward with an angle with the best luchador in the world, let alone the best Mysterio?
I like it. I think it's been long enough, and Dom has developed this character further in a way that it won't be too similar to last time. They're in different places, and I like that. And I think it's going to be great. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot, but yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. I wasn't expecting Rey back. It was a nice surprise to see him back.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting Rey back either. That was literally the last music I thought I was going to hear with him coming out.
Because Dom sets up and he does the thing, and you know someone's coming out. So you're prepping to hear music and, you know, go through your brain and identify who this is. And yeah, that was not anyone I expected to come out.
Agreed. But, you know, Saturday night's main event, like I said, you know, the main event match, Dominic Mysterio wins. And, you know, obviously it wasn't really the main event, but it was my main event because I'm a Dominic Mysterio mark. But it's all good, baby. I am upfront about it.
You want to do, I figure, let's cover anything else we want to on Raw before we hit the World Heavyweight Championship, because that'll kind of feed into, you know, all the other high points.
Into the fallout of Raw?
Yeah.
Okay,
the big opening and the big closing.
Okay, so
because it's all one big story here.
That's great. That's fine. So the main, so we already talked about Dom and Rey. And then, you know, I'm just going to brush over a couple of things that really we don't have a lot of talking points with probably.
We got a really good promo from Becky, who just shows up out of the crowd, hot, PO'd about everyone, talking about Maxine Dupree, and she's essentially just giving her warning and doing what Becky Lynch does, which is being one of the best in the world.
Yeah, and listen,
a heck of a promo.
I am happy that they're not done. Like I legit thought that after the loss to Becky, that WWE was going to start moving on to something else. But I love the fact that they're not finished. Like this almost gives me hope for the fact that Becky could drop the title to Maxine. And
yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think so either. And that made me incredibly excited. So,
and that's a huge moment they can make, and I think that reaction would be awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, what a way to make a star, right? Like you want to make a star, like literally make a superstar, you put them in another match with Becky working this whole thing up and then playing up, Maxine going back into this match, and then they wrestle and Maxine beats Becky and wins the IC championship. I mean, talk about being made. Come on. Yeah, that right there was definitely something that I love to see. Quickly, Asuka and Kairi Sane defeat Lyra and Bayley. This was a good match. Ultimately, the angle of this whole thing was, why did Asuka and Kairi not attack Bayley last week? And I guess the sentiment was that there was maybe some lingering respect that Asuka had for Bayley.
Spared her.
And she spared her, but
And I think I thought that was the dynamic between Asuka and Kairi. They're just so good at it right now.
Yep.
And Kairi during that promo, and I get where it may be a negative to some people, but I like Asuka cutting these promos in Japanese because it will always be her native language and she will be able to emote and add inflection where it's needed, probably a little more naturally.
Oh, yeah.
And we get these stylized subtitles and I like it. And look, I get some people may not, but I enjoy it. And then you always have Kairi cutting in and be like, oh, Bayley, you should be thankful that Asuka did this. And just the reverent tone with which Kairi speaks of Asuka, not in, I don't know how to describe it. It's obviously not in the third person because it is a different person, but it's not like Asuka's there and she's her friend. It's like she's exalting Asuka when she talks of her.
Oh yeah,
and that's so great. I think.
Well, and they had that promo package that they did for Asuka. What was it? Was it this week or last week? Where
last week, like 10 years of Asuka. Or
yeah,
something.
like I mean, dude, that is how you keep someone relevant without having them in the main event scene, and Asuka is deserving of that, and she's in a great feud right now. But yeah, that reverence that she has for Asuka, I think it's warranted, and I think it fits the story and the character really well. Because at some point, Asuka's going to be back in the main event picture, and you keep her, you keep her hot. Which is also why I think this what they're doing right now with Charlotte and Alexa. Yeah, they're the tag team champs, but you also continue to still get Charlotte and Alexa in these singles matches, right? That keep them front and center in people's minds because they are legitimate single stars as well. So I think they're handling this well. I'm wondering because Asuka and Kairi are about to go head to head at some point in the near future with Charlotte and Alexa for those championships. They didn't announce that for Survivor Series. They announced that for what? Raw next week?
Did they?
I think it was announced for Raw next week.
I don't remember them announcing anything, but I will check.
Yeah, I think that might have been it. I could be wrong, but I feel like something might have been announced about them because I remember thinking to myself, okay, so what are we doing with Bayley and Lyra? And I thought that, listen, since this new Bayley character came out, I always think that at some point adversity is going to take hold. And then when it does, Bayley's going to turn on Lyra, but it doesn't happen. But I don't
see an announcement anywhere.
Okay, so maybe I made that up. But I can see a triple threat in their future for the women's tag team championships, which I think is probably what they should do so that you don't leave Bayley and Lyra out back while this feud takes I'm
thinking it's seemingly, to me, it's trending towards a triple threat.
That's what I'm thinking. Thinking.
That's what I'm seeing more than just the one-on-one because they keep Bayley and Lyra involved in this, and I don't think that's for no reason.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely don't think that is a fluke. I think they're doing that on purpose for sure. But yes, we had that. We had AJ Lee. Where is AJ Lee? But no, we had. She is at home with Larry. And
she was mentioned as being hopefully at home. I guess she may not be.
Listen, I guess she came in, she did her thing, and then she went back home. Which, listen, on one hand, I respect it. On the other hand, I wish we got more of her. But that is just nostalgic me. And, I think she's earned the right to do whatever she wants. but AJ Styles and Dragon Lee defeat Finn Balor and JD McDonough in a World Tag Team Championship match.
Really good match.
Absolutely. Listen, they don't have bad matches. They don't have bad matches. I think all four of those components there are, really great in the ring. They do really well together. And so, yeah, I don't think you could have a moment here where we slipped up with that. So here's one thing I wanted to talk to you about, right? And this is the last thing before we get to the main event of Saturday night's main event, which leads into the beginning and the end of Raw. So Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez defeat Stephanie Vaquer and Nikki Bella.
Yes.
So I like every part of this match. I have become a fan of Nikki Bella. I really do appreciate her coming back around to professional wrestling and putting in the effort that she has been putting in. Now, she works in an amended schedule. It's not as frequent as the other three participants in this match, right? And that's understandable. Now, I have nothing bad to say about this match whatsoever. And let me be perfectly clear. I, like a lot of people in America, am a fan of Stephanie Vaquer for all the obvious reasons. And she's a great wrestler. I am a fan of Big Mommy Cool. I'm excited about the fact that she's got a world championship match coming up. It's a shame she's not going to win it, but I'm happy for her because I'm a big fan of Raquel Rodriguez. I am absolutely a huge fan of Roxanne Perez. Always have been, always will be. She's great. Now, I've touched on all four people in this match. I'm thinking about something that I saw online, right? And it was from your favorite podcast, Skeener, the Stevie Richards podcast. And I was watching this clip. And you know how Stevie does. He covers like certain instances that happen in professional wrestling and he kind of breaks them down a bit sometimes. So I was watching his coverage of what happened last week in the singles match with Roxanne Perez and Nikki Bella. And apparently...
Already forgotten what it is. So
apparently Nikki Bella laid in a rather stiff shot to Roxanne Perez that apparently legitimately dropped her in the match. If you watch the video, it's like an open hand slap that's almost like a right cross, and it hits her, and Roxanne goes out, like face plant right into the mat, right? She gets up somewhat quickly. The referee comes over to her, and for a brief second, the ref throws up the X, and he separates the two of them, right? Roxanne apparently shakes this off rather quickly and goes back into the match. But apparently she may not have been 100%. And then Nikki Bella at some point later in the match does the like one leg drop kick where she jumps up and kicks with one leg.
Yeah.
And that drop kick lands a bit stiff and it catches her right in the side of the face. And Roxanne apparently goes down like a sack of bricks again. Now, no X was thrown up in this instant, but this was being covered on the Stevie Richards podcast. Now, in this clip, Stevie is going over where these stiff moments were, and you can see the X go up after the slap. You see the stiffness of the kick, and to be fair, that drop kick was a little snug, right? Do I know if that was intentional or not? Absolutely not. I'm not in the ring with these people. Do I think that slap was intentional? I don't know. I'm not in the ring with these people. I don't know what their minds are. I don't know what they're thinking. If somebody was holding a gun to my head and telling me that I needed to make a decision, I would err, Skeener, on the side of, no, it's not intentional. I don't think that somebody is out there going into business for themselves and throwing stiff haymakers at someone that they're actively in a match with, as if they don't understand.
Nikki Bella is doing that.
Right. I don't think she's doing that. But it's not because I think, oh, Nikki Bella wouldn't do that. Skeener, if I was in a match with you...
That's why I think so. But
and listen, I get that, right? But that makes more assumptions about the individual, someone that we also don't know, right? What I'm speaking to is what seems to be the most logical, right? If I was in a match with you, I'm not going to throw stiff shots at you knowing I'm still in a match with you, that my safety is still in your hands, right? Like, we're still doing top rope spots. We're still doing suplexes. We're still doing body slams. We're still doing shots on the apron. We're still doing shots outside. At any moment, that little stiff one that I gave you, you could easily drop me on my head. You feel me? Like, you could easily throw me into the ropes a little too hard from a bad angle, into the steps, wrong angle. Like, these things can legitimately happen if somebody really wanted to do it. I bring this up because as Stevie Richards is covering this stuff, right, he makes a statement. Well, it's possible that these things were just, were just accidents. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Nikki is she's back on TV wrestling every week now. Is that what she is? Is she wrestling every week now? Now, his co-host, who is no secret, I don't like at all, James Romero, just flippantly states, yeah, responding to his question about if she's wrestling on Raw every week. Yeah. Now, I was watching that clip and I stopped the video. I said, that's not true. Skeena, I pulled up my phone. I Googled Nikki Bella. How many matches has she wrestled since you wrestled Becky Lynch, right? Now, anybody who's got a phone has access to AI as well, so they do have to work for you, right? In 15 seconds, I found out that that was not true. She has wrestled only 3 matches before this tag team match, before the match that happened on Raw the week prior. 3 matches, right? Roughly a match a month.
And it's not like she's on the road doing 4 live events.
Right. It's right. She's not getting those reps like that. But that was so easy for me to assess in 15 seconds that this Nimrod, James Romero, could not do. Let me be honest. I don't like your face. I further don't like what your face does to the face of professional wrestling. I feel like people like you are a blight to what we do. You are a blight to what we do because you are the people that they point to when they think about how wrestling is still a joke. Because you have people who are in positions where their voices can be heard by a lot of people and you don't do your due diligence. And that, sir, will always be your fault. It will always be your fault. That was not Stevie's assertion. That was one that he made, Skeena. But then it gets better. He follows it up with speculative talk about, could it be possible that Nikki Bella is out here doing that on purpose for the express interest of trying to reassert her dominance in the locker room? What the fuck are you smoking, sir?
Yeah.
Like, are we seriously having this conversation?
Yeah. Throw him on the list with Shaq Majori.
I'm straight up.
Persona non grata in the lounge.
Like, straight up. Like, you are never welcome here. Like that is some ridiculous stuff. When we were talking at the top of the show, I was joking about how, there are some people, who are out there who, unlike myself and others, they live in this world, right? And some of this stuff is so real to them that they can't have realistic conversations. I was talking about you, sir. You do this for a living, sir. You are the co-host of multiple podcasts with legends of the wrestling business, former professional wrestlers. You do your podcast with Stevie Richards. You also do with Dutch Mantel.
Oh, okay.
He also does it with Dutch Mantel as well. He may do it with others, right? But then that other guy too, what's his name? Conrad something?
Conrad Thompson.
Yeah, Conrad. Look, much nicer guy. But I've heard Conrad make takes like this before. Not necessarily as absurd as this, but it's like he makes takes and I question, like, dude, this isn't real, right? Like, this is not real.
Seemingly all the co-hosts are like that. And these older, not necessarily in age, but these wrestlers that are out of the business and don't necessarily keep up week to week with everything anymore. They rely on the assertions made by these co-hosts who they assume are informed and are giving them the facts, but are giving them their own biased opinion that is wrong a lot of the time about the factual matters like wrestling every week and stuff like that. And then the veteran, the quote-unquote star of the podcast, will go on and say something ridiculous based on this incorrect info they've gotten. And yeah, it's just a pattern. And that happens on all these shows, seemingly.
It makes no sense, man. Like, it makes no sense. And it sometimes, it gives me hope. It sometimes gives me hope, Skeena, because what we do here is not that. And I will never forget that the time that someone reached out to us and they let us know that they enjoy what it is that we do. This was much earlier in our tenure here on the Lariat Lounge. And they reached out to us, ladies and gentlemen, and they let us know that they appreciate what we do because we don't sound like everybody else that's out there. That they don't want to go somewhere where they're just getting fluff. You know what I mean? Like they're just getting fluff from these ridiculous, idiotic takes from these wrestling folks. And it's like, I don't understand it. I've seen it with Denise Salcedo. I've seen it with James Romero. I've seen it with Conrad Thompson. And listen, some of these people I don't have beef with. I ain't got no beef with you, Conrad. I don't have beef with
all of them.
Fair.
And they can know that.
Fair. Listen, I don't have as much of a problem with Conrad. Denise, she just, something about her I don't like.
Yeah, but she was the stopwatch gang when she was timing all the women's matches.
I didn't know that.
That's her. Yeah, she used to tweet, be like, oh, the women's match on Raw went this long.
Uh-huh.
Just stirring up negativity. Yeah,
yeah,
that was her. So that's why she's off for me. Conrad, I guess I don't have a huge issue with.
No, I just wish he just
vouches for him. I'm okay, but
I just wish he did not fit in this lane that someone like James Romero does. This lane where it's like you just have this face I want to punch, and you have these takes that make me want to punch you, like that. Like you say these things, and it's the last thing I'll say about it. You say these things on a platform the size that you have with a respected member of the wrestling community as your co-host. You don't have enough decency and respect for the person sitting on the other end of the microphone from you to get your facts straight, to not make them have an idiotic take that's based off of your idiocy. That will never fly here. That will never fly here. We have our opinions on things, but I know Andrew Skeens, and I know myself. We are never going to get on this podcast and just pull assertions out of our ass that are just based on anything other than he and I having a conversation and me or him stating very clearly, I'm not sure if this is true or not. It's something that I heard. I have no idea if this is the truth. We are not immune from being human, but we will absolutely preface what it is we're saying with the fact that I don't know about this. I'm not sure if this is true. I heard it. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying this is true. I'm not the source. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you get on the microphone, and as we so eloquently put earlier, a la the dirt sheets, right? You never retract any of your statements. You state everything as if it is 100% the truth. You do a disservice not only to the people that are sitting across from you on the microphone, you do a disservice to wrestling, and you do a disservice to this community of people who host podcasts and host shows, who are fans of this product, who are trying to keep the integrity of what it is that we all enjoy as intact as possible. If you're listening to this, which you probably aren't, but if you are listening to this, please take the vitriol that you hear in my voice as something that you can learn from and benefit from, because you're in a way bigger position than we currently are, and you can do a whole lot more with the sense that we're making. It's going to reach more people for you to get your shit straight and to put it out there correctly than it is for me to criticize and chastise you for saying the stupid shit that you do. But as long as you continue to do what you do, we're going to continue to do what we do here, which is give people a better alternative for people who really want to hear from wrestling fans who are not going to give them BS, who are not going to give them the fluff. They're just going to give them the stuff. Smart takes, hard hits, real talk. That's what we do here at the Lariat Lounge. I will never apologize for that, and I promise I will never intentionally lead you astray like some of these jackasses that host other podcasts. But hey, that's my soapbox. I'm officially stepping off of it. And we can move on to the main event unless you got something that you want to add, my friend.
No, sir.
So we're on to CM Punk versus Jey Uso for the vacant World Heavyweight Championship. This was a really great match. There were some people who had some criticism about it online, which it seems like whenever Jay's in a match, there's always criticism involved. I don't particularly get it, but, whatever, to each their own. I thought the match was really great. Ultimately, Punk lands about 3 GTSs in this match to finally put Jay
4,
down.
Right?
4? Okay.
Because he added 2 at the end. It took 2 at the end.
So maybe it was between 3 to 4 GTSs, which, listen, however you feel about how finishers operate in professional wrestling, I kind of err on the side of where Simon Miller tends to be at, which is we need to put more respect on the finisher's name. Like, finishers don't do what they used to do. And, it's like, are they finishers if they don't finish the match? And so, maybe we should kind of, reel that back in just a little bit, WWE, maybe make the finishers matter a little bit more. But he does about 3 to 4 GTS on OJ. And, it sounded like OJ. He did like 4 to 5 GTSs, 3 to 4 on Jey Uso. And CM Punk is your new World Heavyweight Champion. First and foremost, before we progress here going into what happened on Raw, which despite how great this match was, that's where the real fireworks were. Skeener, what were your thoughts, man? This was our main event. What were your thoughts on the match and the winner?
Thought it was the best match of the night, at least for me. I liked them kind of starting with the slow, big main event style and building. And then it didn't really overstay its welcome for me either. So I thought it was really good. I mean, I like both guys. I thought they were on their game here, and I enjoyed it. I get the criticism about, there's too many finishers being done, but for a big title match, I'm okay with that. So, I thought the crowd was great, thought the match was great, thought it was a great end to a great night. I mean, and I think there's lots of places to go, and obviously we did go somewhere. Wasn't anywhere I thought we were going to, but yeah, what a great match. And yeah, Punk walks out the champion, even though we were thinking Jay was. I don't necessarily think it's a misstep to make Punk the champion over Jay.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think it was a misstep. I think it was a step, right? It was a step that they could take in this match. And I thought that just from the perspective of maybe what you want to do with Punk going into Mania, that maybe you put the title with Jay. But we also said on our pre-Saturday Night's Main Event episode that if they don't go that route with Jay being the world champion again, Jay has so much going on in his own story that he doesn't need it. And so you had avenues here, you had options, and this is the option that WWE chose to exercise. And I think it's going to work out just fine. And, we'll see where it is that they go with Jay, because we definitely got some developments with regards to Punk and his direction. Whether you agree with these directions or not, that's probably variable. But let's just get right into it, man. So Raw opens up with CM Punk, the new World Heavyweight Champion, coming to the ring, which I really, really liked his long sleeve crew neck sweatshirt. There's not too many pieces of merch that I see that I think, you know what, I want to buy that nowadays. I don't know if that's actual merch or if that's something that he had custom made for him, but I saw that and thought to myself, you know what, I'd buy that. That crew neck was sweet, and I love me a crew neck. I really love me a crew neck. But yeah, he opened up the show. He's doing his spiel. He's thanking his wife, who's hopefully at home with Larry, which I hope she's at home, because where is Larry and who's watching him if she's not there? But she hopes she's at home and enjoying herself, and thanking her for riding with him during the bad times so that they can celebrate together during the great times. And here comes Paul Heyman and the Bronze.
That is not true.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They were not the first people to
I'm
come
sorry.
out.
That's right. He kind of laid out not an open challenge, but challenge anyone.
He was name dropping some people he would like to defend against.
Yes.
AJ, Dom, even brought up JD McDonough, I think Finn, Sheamus, even teased John Cena.
He did.
Said he wanted to fight anyone that had earned a championship opportunity. And at that point, the music of Logan Paul hits.
The most humble man in professional wrestling.
Still humble.
Listen, how can he be so good looking and still humble?
Again, another return on this show, and then Ray was later. Obviously, this came at the beginning of the show that I wasn't expecting at all, and that made it a little better.
Agreed.
Because honestly, at that point, who better to come out when he's talking about people that earned championship opportunities than someone none of the crowd is going to think has earned an opportunity?
True. I mean, listen, who better than Canyon? Nobody. But I did not expect Logan Paul. I did not expect Logan Paul. When his music hit, I admittedly thoroughly enjoyed Logan Paul's theme music. The juxtaposition of the humble with who he is and the lyrics to the song, the double entendres that are his chorus are just so appropriate for him. And I love it. So Logan comes out, and who's more deserving than Logan in his eyes? Nobody. The answer is nobody. That's another Canyon reference, folks. And he's, Punk is immediately like, you know what? I made a mistake. I really should not have lined this up like this because I really was not talking about you. In fact, literally anybody but you.
Yeah, that's what I believe that you could see his mouth saying that.
Yeah. You heard it a little bit too. Like you heard a little bit too. And he was trying to cut the music early because he was kind of like anybody but you. And then we get an entrance from Heyman and the Bronze. And Heyman is making criticisms. Logan thinks that he's talking about Punk, but Paul is talking about Logan. And then Logan gets the threat where he needs to get out of the ring because they have some business to take care of and you are about to become collateral damage. And what happens? Logan gets out of the ring. Punk starts getting his little beat down. And then Logan comes back out, right? He comes back into the ring?
Well, yeah, Logan did clear the ring, and then they start kind of getting that little, they start, beating down on Punk because they've got the numbers advantage. Before, good little promo from Braun Breaker. I see we are really, that's a big spot to open the show and go out there and give him a microphone.
Yeah.
Not across the ring, but in the same arena, staring down CM Punk with a microphone. That's a big spot to be. So, kudos to Braun for continuing to look like he belongs at the very top. And crowd still loving it. But yeah, Logan clears the ring at first, but then as the Bronze are getting a little CM Punk, he comes back and wants to get his lick back for being, talked down to.
And thrown out the ring.
Mm-hmm.
They threw him out the ring and he hit a little hard. And he wants to get his little lick back. And he gets a tsunami for his troubles. And, I guess this is the point where, the idea is that this is where you stand and fight, Logan. And the idea is that Punk, who later runs into Jey Uso backstage, and Jay is like, I got respect for you. You got respect for me. We're friends behind the scenes. I'm going to help you with your Braun issue. We need to go ahead and handle this now. Punk accepts after asking Jay if he can trust him. Yeah, you can trust me. So later on in the evening, we've got a tag team match. Jey Uso and CM Punk versus the Bronze. So let's see. Oh, that's right. I'm about to say, who won that? Nobody did. The match ends in a double count out, which at first I was kind of like, "What? This is not the finish that I particularly wanted. A double count out. This must be serving some sort of purpose." So the purpose that it serves, Skeener, please fill our fans in on the purpose that this served.
So we get a good match. Eventually, I think everyone ends up kind of out on the floor brawling, and we just get a double count out. The participants are not necessarily interested in the match as much as they are fighting each other, and we get the double count out. We get a great spot with Braun running around the ring, and we get an overhead drone shot of him hitting a spear on Jay outside the ring, and I think Punk gets a chair at one point, or somehow a chair gets introduced.
Punk gets a chair.
Gets it. Yeah, he's teeing off on I believe Bronson Reed. He's teeing off on him, and then here comes Logan Paul, who's gonna come back, and you presumably, or at least what I thought earlier in the night, was a little bit of a face turn for Logan Paul. And I was like, okay, he's going to be on Punk's side. I can see this and like this. But Logan dons his brass knuckles and, pulls one over on Punk, knocks him out with the brass knuckles, to the shock of the Vision, who is still eager to whoop up on him. And Paul is holding back the dogs, so to speak, and telling them, don't move, don't move. They're all in the ring, standing over the fallen CM Punk. Paul's holding his vicious dogs back, and Logan just walks over to Paul and takes off his brass knuckles and hands them to Paul Heyman, signaling something. I mean, obviously some sort of an alliance. I've seen a lot of people saying this is Logan Paul joining the Vision. I don't know if I am comfortable saying he has joined the Vision yet, but obviously there is an alliance of sorts.
There's something.
Yet to see whether it has been something brokered by Paul Heyman throughout the night or something spontaneous, but I'm sure we will see, and hopefully Logan Paul is back for a little bit, because I think he is a great sports entertainer, a great professional wrestler, and this is a fork in the road I couldn't have predicted if you told me to give you 100 different options. And it was awesome. And it makes sense, because who else would Logan Paul want to align with? And who else would Paul Heyman go get for his vision of the future? And Braun's, we'll see how the Brauns react, because I don't know, you can't imagine Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are going to be too friendly with Logan Paul. So I just, so many great options, but I'm going to let you talk here before I go on too long.
Okay, so this was unexpected for sure. I did not see this being a thing. When he was standing side by side with Punk and he had the knucks on, I think that was when it was probably the most visible what was about to happen. If you're a wrestling fan and you watch professional wrestling, you know the tells, right? You know the signs when something's about to go down. And that was absolutely one of those moments where he's standing there, he's got these knucks, and you just know he's about to hit Punk with them. And he does. So that part did not catch me too off guard, right? It's always nice when they do introduce a swerve. Even if you feel like you see it a little bit, it's still one of those things where when they follow through with it, right, it's interesting to think about where they're going with it. So Paul hits Punk with these knucks. Punk is selling his best, dead carcass. And Paul is holding back the dogs. He is shocked and chagrined. And Logan walks up to him, takes his knucks off, and he puts them in Paul's hands. Now, if you go on WWE.com and you go to Monday Night Raw results, at the top of the page, the image that is at the bumper of the Raw results is the image right after Logan Paul hands the brass knuckles to Paul Heyman. The look on his face on Paul Heyman's face is one of, well, okay. The look on Bronson Reed's face is like, really? The look on Braun Breaker's face, he's looking at Paul Heyman. And he's looking at Paul Heyman like, are you serious? My first thought when this whole thing went down was more akin to what the look is on Braun Breaker's face, which is, I hope we're not doing this. Not because I have anything with against Logan Paul as a wrestler, but are we continuing to push Braun Breaker's ascension off? It's not a bad idea. Slow burn it. Make it to where we're continually pissing this dog off, right? And continuing
that's what I think this is. Put
him into a kennel. And at some point, he's probably going to do the same thing he did to Seth to Logan. And, you know, if at some point Bronson Reed tries to like step in and calm him down and it's the wrong time, he may go off on Reed too. And then the crowd is going to erupt because now this dog is completely off his leash. You know, and listen, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that if that's where they're going. I have no doubt that they have plans for Braun Breaker specifically. No, nothing against Bronson Reed, but I think they have plans specifically for Braun Breaker to be that guy. I just kind of felt like unless this is something where they are injecting Logan Paul into this because he is going to be the stand-in proxy for Seth Rollins to finish his story out so that timeline-wise, this falls in line with where they wanted to go with things for Braun Breaker and originally. To have Logan Paul come into the division, if that's the situation, and take the shine away from what Braun Breaker is doing currently, I thought was like, I don't know if I want this. But I thought about it a little more, and I came to the position that I just laid out. And if this is where they're going, I have no problem with it. Logan is very much hated. And if you're trying to get more heat on the Vision, you picked the freaking molten core of the WWE universe in adding Logan Paul to your ranks. Now, is Logan going to be around enough to make this work? Who knows? Maybe he's ready to do a little stint, right? He stretches from time to time. So, you know, we'll see. I just think this is a pretty decently long stretch here, you know, from now through to, I don't know, Mania season, because that's typically where we would pseudo consider the soft restart of the season, right? The soft restart of storylines, because that's the ultimate concluder of storylines is Mania. So we'll see what they do with that. But I generally thought that this was a pretty good angle. I thought that Braun Breaker looks like a freaking animal out there, which is wonderful. And I think that the Vision are doing a really good job of maintaining the ship now that Rollins is not here. And Becky Lynch is going to keep his name in y'all mouth. So I think the Vision's doing all right. We'll have to wait and see where this goes because this was kind of out of left field here. And I'm having I'm having a time trying to slot Logan Paul in somewhere. Like, what do they do with him? It seems like
if they're going to do the Vision as a part of War Games, I'm sure they had Seth figured in. So I think you are onto something in a way that he is a quote-unquote stand-in for Seth in that match. At least that's how I would think it is right now. And I'm not as worried about him taking shine off of Braun. I think it's almost going to be more of a positive. Because of almost like you're talking about that picture with that look of just the completely Braun is just completely incredulous and flabbergasted with what he is seeing. And I think that just gives Braun more to play with, is that he thinks he took out the big dog and now he's the big dog and has Paul Heyman just brought in another guy without consulting him.
Very true.
And I think that's somewhere to go with that character where, and like you said, if they had a timeline on this, which they probably did, they don't want to just have to rush it. If they had some big end in sight for Braun Breaker breaking away from the Vision, I'm sure they would like to keep that timeline somewhat. If there's a WrestleMania end or an end with a big name that's not around for a while, they don't want to have to rush it just because we had an unfortunate Seth injury. So this gives us, this essentially, not that it's going to be a complete waste, but buys you time.
Yeah.
and also presents another opportunity because again, we like the characters with angles. This is another angle that you can give Braun Breaker, and I'm more excited seemingly than most about this.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think I'm ultimately more excited to see where this goes. I was a little confused in the moment, but I can see the benefits here. I can see where this can go, right? If he is a stand-in, a proxy for a Seth Rollins-esque character, then yeah, like we stated before, this gives real leeway for the story to continue to progress to what is more akin to its natural concluding place than where they would be if they pivoted and did something that was a bit ahead of schedule, similar to what it seems like they may have done with CM Punk, right? Seth would still be world champion right now, so Punk would be factored in as a challenger here, but they may have fast tracked this because unlike the Vision story, they don't have another fill-in here, and somebody's got to be holding that belt. So if the big story that you're telling is around the Vision and the championship, if the Vision can't hold the championship right now, the person that they're feuding with can. And that would be CM Punk first before it would be Jey Uso. So yeah, I get it. And I don't hate it. I don't hate it. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes because I currently don't know, brother. I currently don't know.
My biggest disappointment, I guess, would be, and I get it because you didn't want to take the focus off the Logan Paul part of this, and they maybe didn't have another good way to get where they wanted to, but not a lot of follow up on Jay. I mean, did he do a backstage interview? Or did we just see him with Punk? I think
it was just him
yeah.
with Punk.
So right, so I would have liked something, and hopefully we'll get it because he poured a lot into making himself the champ again. He threw his brother over the top rope in order to get this shot, and he came up short again. And I want to see how he reacts to that, but that was seemingly the can was kicked down the road, and I don't really love that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It would have been nice to get a little bit of follow up there. But, hopefully next week we'll get some more interaction with Jay and Jimmy. Obviously, next week will still be in the month of November, which means we've still got a lengthy ways away from Christmas. So there won't be any Roman.
Maybe.
Well, he said he wants to see
I thought Roman's who I thought we were getting Roman at the end of the main event.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of calling for that. And in particularly on Raw, during the beatdown, they were calling for
that's what I meant. That's where I thought we would see him. But
yeah, they were calling for Roman. But listen, Roman, if he's a man of his word, he ain't gonna see Jimmy and Jay until Christmas. And so, you can mark the date on your calendar because that'll be a pretty decent barometer for the vicinity of time that you'll see the OTC again. But yeah, look, we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see what happens in the weeks to come because these stories are up in the air. And, to WWE's credit, I think they're doing a fantastic job with telling a lot of these stories. And for the ones that they're not doing the best job with, which I'm looking at the Raw match card right now, and I don't really see one where they could be doing a whole lot better. Where does LA Knight slot into any of this stuff?
Yeah, we did not see him after he promised he would be coming after the champ next.
That's so who I thought we were going to see when Logan came out.
Hopefully, yes, me too, obviously. And so hopefully he has an answer to Logan Paul and tells us where the heck he was.
Well, if you ask him, he would probably say, yeah.
Maybe he had some travel issues. So, but before we wrap up, what did you think? Because we got the first two matches in the we didn't even talk about that from Saturday night's main event.
I mentioned it earlier.
That John Cena's final challenger will be determined by a 16-man tournament with a quote-unquote random draw for the participants, but also including people that don't even work there. So if it's random and people that don't work there are included, are we in there? Could we get called up?
Well, the short answer, if you're being technical about it, is yes. We could absolutely be in there. Now, am I going to answer the call if my ball gets picked? Probably not. I'm not trained, and I don't want to mess. I don't want to mess with the product or hurt anyone. So it might be smarter to not do that. But yeah, the last time is now tournament is starting next week, and
Raw in Boston, which is Cena will be there, correct?
He will.
His last appearance on Monday Night Raw.
Yep, it will be his last appearance on Monday Night Raw in his home state. And I'm sure that there are going to be vignettes playing throughout the night, and his speech is probably going to be epic. Yeah, they've announced his tournament to determine who is going to wrestle John Cena in his final match, and we got some names already.
Mm-hmm. Rusev versus Damian Priest,
interesting
and
matchup.
Shinsuke versus Sheamus.
Another
will
interesting
happen next
matchup.
Monday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing who SmackDown announces, because I'm assuming they're going to pull 4 as well.
Yeah, that's what they said. That is what Adam Pearce told us, is that Nick Aldis will pull 2 matches this Friday for next Friday.
Right. So, and I guess what, next Monday, Raw's going to pull 4 more?
I would think so, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I wouldn't bet heavily on any of those 4 men to win the tournament, but maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, Damian Priest and Rusev, I don't see either one of those being the final 4, being the final 2 or the final person to wrestle Cena.
Probably not going to be Shinsuke at this point.
Yeah, I doubt
probably
that.
Not going to be Sheamus. The only thing I know is he's really isn't Cena. He's been workout buddies with Sheamus, and I think he has a pretty good relationship with Rusev. So who knows?
I don't
Maybe
think
he's just going out with one of his buddies. Probably not, but they're in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I guess
we currently just have no auspices of who is winning or in this thing. So
no, and we haven't even gotten to SmackDown, and we'll get. Oh well, hold on, we'll get 4 from SmackDown, 4 from Raw.
Yeah, I believe by the end of next week we will have the full field of participants.
I bet you we're going to have 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown, 4 from NXT, and 2 people who don't work here. That's 18.
And then what about the other 2? That's 14 people.
Wait. Oh, that's right. I'm tripping. So maybe 4, 8. Maybe we do 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown, 4 from NXT, and 4 people that don't work here. That's 16. We need 18, right?
We need 16.
Oh, well then that's it. That would make the most sense.
That would be it. Yeah.
That would make the most sense, because if the tournament starts next Monday, right?
Yes,
and we got 4.
Yep.
We should get 4 on NXT. Then we will get 4 on SmackDown this weekend or this Friday. And then between now and this weekend, we get the 4 announcements for the people that don't work here. And so they're all in place for the tournament start next Monday. I'm excited.
I'm not even going to begin to guess what the breakdown is, because I don't know, but there's a little bit of intrigue in revealing this field, and we'll see more of it on Friday. We'll have half of it revealed, then hopefully the other half next week.
Yeah. Well, hold on. We got 4 this week, right? We got 4 people this week.
We got 4 this week.
Right.
And we'll have 4 on SmackDown, so that'll be half of the field.
Well, NXT is this week too.
I don't know where you're getting that they are confirmed going to announce some on NXT.
I mean,
because I have not seen that.
I haven't seen that either, that they're confirmed to do that. But what I'm saying is,
I don't think they're going to. I think anyone from NXT will be announced on Raw or SmackDown. I don't think they're going to put 4 people from NXT in this tournament. I really don't. So
you think that they're going to be announcing participants in the tournament before they're going to be announcing participants in the tournament while the tournament is actively going on?
Probably. I mean, that's unless you think they're going to announce 12 more people between NXT and SmackDown and before next week. I mean, I guess they could do the rest on Raw, but I just don't think so. I think they're going to announce like one side of the bracket and start those matches, and then they'll announce the other side while the other side has commenced.
I guess the problem with that is if you do it by sides, right? If you do it like that, the problem you run into is that you're going to have all of the people from NXT and all of the people who are not from the company on one side of the bracket. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
look, I think it's weird the way they're doing it. I don't have any good answers, but
yeah, listen, I listen. I would say this: for as much as we sit here and see WWE announce crap via Instagram and social media, and not on Raw and SmackDown, the idea is not that foreign that we get 4 on Raw, 4 on SmackDown, NXT, and maybe even the foreigners, the WWE foreigners, right, get announced via WWE's Instagram. It'll be breaking news from WWE's Instagram account. Like, they've done this with so many other things. I wouldn't put it past them. And I think it makes more sense to have all of your participants set for the tournament before the tournament starts. Because if you don't, right, how are you going to help the betting pools? How are you going to help DraftKings, Skeena? Like, they got to get their plugs in.
Brock Lesnar won Money in the Bank, and he wasn't in it until he ran down there and grabbed the briefcase.
Yeah, that's Brock Lesnar, though. But, oh, by the way, last thing I want to say before we wrap up. Did you see the latest WrestleMania 42 trailer that was revealed? The one with Roman Reigns?
I saw the one. Yeah, I was going to say, I saw the one with Roman talking, but is that what you're talking about?
Yep. I guess we're going to get one for every one of those guys in the trailer. That makes sense.
I'd be fine with it. I think they're cool. I think people work themselves up expecting way too much from it, which I get. But I guess I didn't see any of that until it was revealed that it was a WrestleMania teaser. So I didn't have time to work myself up over it.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily work myself up because I didn't really know about it for real. But yeah, I mean, listen, I said what I said on the live stream, right? Like, the trailers are fine. You keep hyping this up though, like it's a world premiere for the trailer for WrestleMania. Like, come on, dude. Like, are we really world premiering trailers for WrestleMania 42? Like, dude, just cut the promo. Like, just run the reel, run the tape. Like, it's gonna land the same way. We don't need to take these little pockets of segments to have Michael Cole talk about the world premiere of the WrestleMania 42 trailer part 4, because there's going to be at least 4 of them. Well, at least 5, including the original trailer, which, I don't know, trailer just sounds weird for a PLE. But you know what? The world of professional wrestling is an interesting and weird place. We love living here. That's what we do. Skeena, your highlight for the week, brother, coming from SmackDown over Saturday night's main event to Monday Night Raw. What was your big takeaway?
With all the subtext you can read into it, and if you think that's what I'm talking about it. Loved CM Punk take a well-deserved victory lap at the beginning of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I hear you. My highlight of the week, easily, there's no question here. Dom ringing the ring bell and throwing Rusev off the win is one of those things that I will always remember. It will be stuck with me forever. And to me, that is just when wrestling is at its peak, when it just does things that are just lasting and they stick to your bones like meat and potatoes, man. And that right there just had me geeked. And I loved it. I love stuff like that. And it just made Dom even better than the best luchador in the world. And I don't know how you get that way, because he's already the king of the luchadores. He's already the best luchador. He's already the best Mysterio. He's better than every luchador in history. And these are all facts. These are all facts, Skeena. So, you know, it doesn't get any bigger than that for me. So that's my highlight for the week. And I'm hoping that your highlight of the week is hanging out with Skeena and I for us talking wrestling and us shooting the breeze, talking what we talk, doing what we do, because we enjoy getting together each week and downloading and offboarding and, you know what I mean? What is the term I'm looking for? Debriefing on the week of wrestling. So we get to do that with each other, and I'm glad that we get to share it with you guys. And listen, I meant what I said earlier. You can always rely on the Lariat Lounge to be something that is different, something that is not like everything else. And you will come here and you will always get Andrew's genuine takes. You will always get my genuine takes because that's what we do here. And that's the fundamental bedrock of this podcast. And it's always going to stay that way. So you're always welcome to pull up a seat, hang out with us, and get the honest takes, the smart takes, the hard hits, and the real talk. We appreciate you guys. Skeener, let our friends know where they can catch us every week for the ranked 196 professional wrestling podcast in America, according to iTunes Podcast.
If you stumbled in here and don't know how to get back, we are coming at you once a week, every week. The Lariat Lounge is in your podcast format, everywhere you get your podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all your favorite platforms will be there. We're over on Instagram at the Lariat Lounge Podcast. And feel free to send us an email at thelariatlounge@gmail.com.
Ladies and gents, another week of wrestling down, another problem solved. We appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us. I hear closing time is playing over the PA, which I honestly wish that the bartender would stop playing that one song when it's time to go. But it gets the point across, and people seem to get it. So I understand if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, please close your tabs. We enjoyed you guys coming out. We'll be right here open next week. So come back and join us here in the lounge. From your host, Everson Godfrey, and your co-host, Andrew Skeens, this has been another edition of the Lariat Lounge. Please watch yourself on the way out.